Okay, guys, let's start. Okay, so yesterday we have seen what? We have seen decorator, right? So I hope we are good with the decorator. A small concept where you can try to use the functionality of one function with the other function, right? So that is the decorator part. Coming to today's topic, so we have like few small concepts to be covered. Okay, so first one is zip. Okay, so in Python, if at all, let's say you are having two list, fine, and you want to zip them. Okay, and if you want to get the output in this format, like first element from the first list and second element from the second list, and sorry, first from the first list and first from the second list, and second from first list and second from second list. So okay, if you want in that way, so one thing is obviously, as you might guess, we can go for the loops, right? Iterate one for loop in this and one more for loop in this. I in languages, j in versions, I comma j, you can do that. But instead of doing all those, you can simply use zip. Okay, you can simply use zip, and giving languages and versions, it will give you the value and you can just convert it into list. Okay, as you can see, directly you will get each element from individual list. Fine. Similarly, you can also extend this into multiple lists also. Okay, fine. So this will work for any number of list. Okay, this will be useful sometimes. You are going to definitely use this small function. Yeah, you will know like when you actually use this, because I've used it many times. Sometimes there will be two list, right? So then you can directly go for the zip, taking each element from one list. Fine. So this is I would say, I would just like to show you one example over here. Next, you have something called as iter, guys. Okay, so iter is a class, okay, or keyword in Python, which will try to iterate, okay, through a sequence. For example, let's say you are having my list, okay, 470. Fine. To find out or to print or to access each element from this list, okay, what you are going to do, you are going to you can go for a loop. Till now what we have studied is looping, right? So you can just do for I in my list, print I, it will print 470. Okay, 470. Now here in Python, you also have something called as iter. Okay, so for iter, it accepts a sequence, okay, list, tuple, anything. So you need to pass the sequence, and once you have that, to access each element from this iterator, okay, you need to use the keyword called as next. Fine. So for example, if I just do this, okay, and if I run this, okay, and if I print this, as you can see, my list is 470, and passing that to the iter class. Okay, and now it is into the iterator. If I print iterator, okay, so you cannot see this, it's a address, function address. This is how, this is where these elements are stored inside this iterator. Okay, so that's why you cannot see the values, but these are actually stored inside that. To access the elements from this iterator, okay, so you need to use the next keyword. Okay, so now if you see print iter, if you say print iter, it is going to print one element from this. Okay, if you again say print iterator, it is going to print one more element. Okay, if you again print, it will say one more element from this. Okay, so iter is used to access each element at a time. Okay, so instead of printing, instead of taking, like if you just do for I in this my list, it will obviously you will get all the elements printed, right? So but if you just want only one element at a time to get printed, so you can go for the iter. Okay, so every time you say next, only one element from this gets printed. Okay, again you need to use the next keyword, and after the completion of all the elements in the list, if I can use print, it will give you an error. It will say stop iteration. Okay, so to access only one element at a time, okay, so you can use the iter class, and this you can extend to any sequence. Okay, fine. We will see what are the advantages over here, and apart after that you have something called as generator, guys. Okay, after that you have something called as generator. So coming to generator, uh, see, we have studied list comprehension, right? We have studied list comprehension, right? So there we will have a list of values getting stored in a list, that means squared brackets. Okay, now coming to generator. Okay, so we will see what the difference I'll show you. So here what happens over here is the concept of generator is similar to iterator, similar to iter what we have used. Okay, it is similar to that. Okay, but here we are going to use the keyword called as yield. Okay, we are going to use the keyword called as yield. Fine, and it is going to give each value at a time. Okay, for example, let's say you are having a function. Okay, and this function is, as you can see, it is saying yield of a, yield of b, yield of c. Okay, so now the main important point over here is, till now we have studied, okay, till now we have studied define, where we will give function name. Okay, and you will write some code and you will say return this, return some value, return some value, correct? So that means what? That means after executing complete this code, it is going to return some value, correct? If it is not returning this value, so the output of this is none type. This we have seen. Now when you are using generator concept, okay, when you are using generator concept in the function, you don't need to, okay, you don't need to return some value. You can say yield. Okay, you can say yield, and whatever the value you want to return, you will be returning with respect to, with the use of yield. Okay, now what is the importance of yield we are going to see. Okay, so now if you see, for example, I have this function. Okay, I am calling this function, and the outputs whatever that are given by my gen function are abc. Okay, because generator related keyword is yield. Okay, so now these are the three outputs which are given by this function, and when I call this function, that will be stored in my g. Okay, now I am running this g. Now if you want to access my first output from this my gen, you need to use the same keyword next of gen. Okay, so that means whatever these values are, it is passing. Okay, whatever these values are getting passed. One second, I'll show you. Yeah, you see, just like how whenever we are passing some value, and whenever we are trying to use a iter keyword, guys, so every value that is present in this list now is present in this iterator. Okay, but if you try to print the iterator, so it is not the actual or what is it? It's not the actual variable. Okay, uh, which is storing some value. Okay, so it is a kind of iterator. Okay, so you need to loop through it, right? You need to loop through it so that you can extract values from it. It's not a single standalone variable. Like it's not like a equal to 5, b equal to 10. Okay, it is holding certain a group of variables. Okay, and to access those variables, you cannot directly take it from iterator. You need to loop through it and take all values at a time or one value at a time, something like that. Okay. So that's why for all those objects, when you print, you will see an address. Okay. So whenever you're seeing address, you should think that this is holding a group of variables. Okay. Similarly, in the concept of generator, right? So whenever a function is returning multiple values, okay, so all those will be stored in the form of a generator object. Okay, will be stored in the form of a generator object. How you know this is generator object? One is this is saying a generator object. Second thing is you are getting these values with the help of a yield keyword. Okay, so generator will always give the output in the by the keyword of yield. Okay, so now these values is are present in the are present in G. Okay, now to access the values, from this G, you need to go for the same next G, because whether it is an iterator or generator or any object which is holding a group of variables, to extract the values from that, we will be using the keyword called as next. Okay, we'll be using the keyword called as next. Fine. So now if you see next of G, if I print it once, it will give A. If I print it again, it will give B. If I print it again, it will give C. Okay. After that, it will give stop iteration. Fine, guys. Are you able to understand? See, iterator is used for a sequence. Okay, the iterator keyword is used for a sequence. Here, sequence could be tuple, list, anything. Okay, so once you put that into an iterator, it will create an iterator object, so that where it will hold all the values of that sequence. Okay, now using next keyword, you can access one element at a time. Okay, one element at a time from this iterator. If you want to access all the elements at a time, go for loop. Just say for I in my list, print I, it will constantly print all the values, right? But sometimes you don't want to print all values. You just want to take one item at a time, do some processing, check some values, do everything. Okay, and just stop it over there. So in those cases, you will use next iterator, next keyword, so that you will give only one value at a time. Okay, now Karthik, yeah, any issues, Karthik? Network issues or what?
Yeah, Santa.
Okay, okay, fine. So yeah, so coming back, so iter is useful in the scenario of the some sequence. Okay, but the concept is same. Here the group of values will be stored in the iterator, and it will create an iterator object, and you need to use the next keyword to access the elements. Now similarly, you have something called a generator. Okay, where you will be using the keyword yield, but this will be for the mainly for the functions. Okay, so here also, if you see, you are able to get what the values, all the output of the values that are getting passed from this function, and that will be stored in the G. Okay, and that will be a generator object. Okay, because you are getting it from the yield keyword, and to access each element, you need to use the next keyword. Fine. So, but here you need to uh, understand one important thing. Okay, coming to, I'll show you. See, the main difference you need to grasp over here is in generator, whenever you are saying you are passing it by yield. Okay, so if you are having a b c, just now we have seen example. Okay, the system don't need to print all these values at a time. Okay, so it is putting all these values in a iterator object. Okay, someone chatting, Sir, I'm not feeling well. I'm leaving the class. Oh, Surisha. Mm, fine. So if you okay, uh, fine. If you are not able to listen, that's fine. But make sure you go through the recording. Okay. Take care. Yeah. Don't miss the recording. Okay. Fine. So coming back, guys, I'm saying so whenever you are using the whenever you're using a generator, okay. So all these values which are getting generated, we are not printing at a time, right? So we are able to store all of them in some generator object, and using next keyword, okay. You are getting only one element at a time. Okay, you are getting only one element at a time. Okay, next key again, if you use next, it will again print only one element. So what's happening over here? So the system don't need to, okay, print all these values or store all these values internally. Okay, but instead of doing that, it can try to generate only one value at a time. Okay, so instead of storing like I would say like 1000 values. Okay, if in the case of for loop, if I say for I in range of, okay, for I in range of like 1000, and if I print I, so constantly it will keep on printing 1 2 3 0 1 2 3 4 till 999. Correct. So obviously it should require this much time and this much memory. Correct. But in the case of generator, so whatever the values you are trying to give, right, so those values will be stored in the generator. Okay, so those values will be stored in the generator, and whenever you say only next, then only it will try to extract and print it. Okay, so what I'm trying to say here is you are going to have a advantage of time. Okay, you are going to have an advantage of time and also memory from this concept. Okay, but how we are going to have, I'll be showing an example. Okay, so that you will have a clear understanding how generators are like way better than the normal uh, functions. Okay, normal collections. Okay, so normal collections are what? So if I can just do, for I in range of, okay, for I in range of 10, I can create some L equal to something, and I can say L dot append of I. Okay, that means what? All these values will be appended into L, right? So this is a collection, right? So instead of doing that, what we can do in a better way, let's see. Okay, but before that, I'll show you just one more example. For example, if you see, if I just want to like print first in 10 values or 20 values, see, I am what I'm trying to do. Okay, I'm having a first n function. Okay, and inside that there is a while loop. Okay, and I'm printing the, I'm passing returning the value with the yield. Okay, so whenever there is a yield, you can observe there is no return function. Okay, the yield itself will give you the output. Okay, so here you can directly put the values in the form of a list. So every time it is going inside, it is giving only one value. Okay, it first will give one, next two, three, like that. Okay, so that's how you will get these values stored. Okay, fine. So you may not be able to understand the exact importance of this by this example, but I will show you some other example. Okay, so that you will have a comparison between these two things. Okay, so uh, fine. So as I said, there is the we will see one example where in this example, if you see, there are two functions. Okay, observe here. One function is text list. Okay, one function is text generator. Okay, so here we are having a list. Companies is one list and CEO is one list. Correct. And what are we doing? We are doing very simple things. If you just try to think and see over here. So in text list, we are creating a results list, and inside that, what we are doing, we are creating we are creating one dictionary. In this dictionary, we are adding three parts: id equal to I. That means what? As long it will loop through this number of values. Let's say num equal to 10. Okay, so initial id equal to 0, and in the place of name, what I'm doing, I'm randomly taking one value from companies. Okay, how I'm taking? Random dot choice will take one random value from the given sequence, correct? So companies is company, so it will take some value. Let's say it has to Tesla. Okay, and next subject also same. Randomly I'm taking one value from CEO. Okay, let's say this is Musk. Okay, so this dictionary, I'm creating this dictionary in the persons variable, and I'm appending the dictionary to the results list. Okay, to the results list I'm doing, and I am doing that for all the values in this range. Okay, if a range is 10, I'll do it 10 times. Okay, 10 times. That means ID will be 0, 1, 2 like that each time. But coming to name and subject, every time it will pick up some random values from company and one random value from CEO. Okay, that's what we are doing. A simple operation over here we are doing, and every time a list is getting created, okay, this particular list we are appending to this something called as results. Okay, results dot append, this dictionary will be appended to here. Again one more dictionary. Okay, like that n number of dictionaries we are adding. Okay, that is a function we are doing, and we are returning that results. Okay, so that is what is happening in the text list. Okay, now coming to text generator. Okay, same thing we are doing. Okay, for I in range of num, everything same, but here we are doing the yield. Okay, you are returning the value in the form of yield. Okay, now see what happens. So the fundamental difference of the generator. Okay, first one is a normal collection, guys. Okay, this is called normal collections. Okay, these are called collections because you are collecting all these values in the list or tuple, right? So those are called collections. Okay, the fundamental difference between normal collection and generator is, in normal collection all values will be stored at the beginning. Okay, so that means in return it will return all the values. What all? Let's say I have given num equal to here we can give num, right? I'll give 1000. Okay, guys, I'll give 1000. That means 1000 times it will iterate 0 1 2 3 like that, and 1000 values will be stored in results. All the values will be processed and stored in this results variable. Okay, but coming to generator, that is a normal thing which we saw till now. But coming to generator, it will just create a generator object. Okay, it will just create a generator object. But main important thing is values values won't be stored. Okay, values won't be stored in the beginning. Okay, this is the main concept. Values won't be stored. It will just create, it will understand the operation, what's happening over here, and it will just create the generator object and stop. Only when you are trying to access it using the next keyword, okay, only when you try to access it with the next keyword, it will try to give one value at a time. So that means all the values are not getting processed or not getting stored at a time. Okay, it is only creating a generator object for that required function, and it is stopping over there. So obviously it will take less time, and obviously it will store less storage, because it is not showing 1000 values. It is only one single generator object it is having. Okay, from that if you want to take elements, you need to use next keyword, and each time if you use next keyword, it will give one item at a time, like that it will give. If you after 5 next, if you thought of, okay, I don't want this generator, you can stop it over there, so that unnecessarily you are not storing all the values, right? But here if you see, the moment when you say, for example, what if I say 1 lakh? Okay, the number is 1 lakh. So this text list function, whatever we are having over here, this text list function, it will iterate 1 lakh times. Okay, it will iterate 1 lakh times, and it will store 1 lakh values in these results. Okay, obviously it will take huge time and lot of memory. But if you use even 1 lakh values, okay, even if you use 1 lakh in the text generator, since we are not storing the values, okay, it will just create a generator object. Okay, it will use a generator object, and it will stop over there. Okay, only when you use the next keyword and try to access, okay, then only you will get some values from there. Okay, So now if you say, for example, I'm running this. Okay, so guys, did you just understand the theory part what I'm trying to convey? Are you guys on track, like?
Yeah, Santosh. But little confusion at a generator. How they, I mean,
Okay,
is getting the value.
sure, I'll show you the example. Meghana, what about you? Are we good?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so see, yeah, the way how you are, see, I will show you two things. So we can prove that generator is better than normal collection. This is normal collection, this is generator, right? So generator will have less time, it will take less time, and also less memory. Okay, now first let's try to see the time difference over here. So now if you see here, function returning results, function text generator yielding some value. Okay, same operation, same input. Okay, now if I'm running this, now see, I'm just calling first tech list. Okay, I'm passing tech list. Okay, I'm passing some how many values, instance, 1,000 lakhs, 10 lakhs, 10 lakhs values. Okay, my 10 lakhs values I'm passing to the tech list. Okay, to tech list, and then I'm running. So initially I'm importing time. Okay, so using time, right? So you can find out how much time a particular event will take. So every time you say time dot time, it will give you the current time. Okay, the moment when it runs t1, so it is this current time at t1 when it execute this t1 line, and after that it will execute this, and after that again you are taking t2. Okay, so t2 minus t1 will be the difference of the time, right? How much time this line has took for the execution. Okay, so this is how you can actually do for any other snippet of code also. That means if you want to know like how much time a particular function is taking, even this function also, or any looping also, so you can just put one time above that and one time below that, and after that you can just do t2 minus t1. It will give you how much time, whatever you are writing in between this function or looping or iterator or generator, anything. Okay, so that is one concept. So now if I now run this, okay, as you see it is taking some time. See, now yeah, it took like 4 minutes, oh sorry, 4 seconds 49 fraction of seconds. Okay, it has took. And if I try to see the length of people of t, so I'm storing it in people of t. If I see the length of people of t, 10 10 lakh records are collected in this people of t. Agree? And now if I see the people of t, as you can see, it has storing. So every time the value is zero, from 0 1 2 3 4, the id if you observe, so 1 2 3 4, and till it will show you only top 1,000 values, because it will take a lot of memory. But as you can see, it's taking random values for name and subject. Okay, now obviously it is taking more time, like 4 seconds and lot of memory. Fine. So now if I try to execute, if I try to execute uh, the same thing. Okay, the same thing, you have text generator. Okay, text generator, same 10 lakh values, I'm giving time t1 t2. If I just run this, see, it did not take time at all, zero point 0.0 seconds, almost instantly. Okay, but if I run it again, okay, it is taking zero point 0.0 seconds. Okay, see, at least just to show you, I have ran multiple times, so it is taking like 0.0001 seconds, so almost no time. Okay, but now if you see the whatever it is getting created, the people is actual values which you have seen earlier, but here people generator, that is a generator object. Okay, that is a generator object. And for the generator object we will not have any length. Okay, because that is not the actual variable. Okay, but if you want to see next of, see, it is printing the value one at a time. Okay, it is just printing the one value one at a time. Okay, so now if I run this again, okay, one people next of gen, Okay, it should store. Next of G. Actually, it should give each time when I run it should give like those values. Just give me a second, guys. Text generator. Okay. Image of no, oh, should I run it times or let me just check. Text list obviously it is giving the 1 lakh values at a time. Coming to text generator, it will yield one value at a time. Okay. Oh, okay. 1 lakh times. Okay. I think we can. Okay, people 10 times. Okay, but it should ideally print 10, right? So is it because should I return 2 times 2 yields? Just trying to check. 0 and 1. Okay. Oh, okay. I think okay. So if I now do 3, okay, 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 okay. Oh, okay. I did a mistake over here. Okay, fine. So if you see that. Fine. Yeah. Sorry for the confusion, guys. So you need to use multiple yields over here. Okay. So just like I was using, yeah. So just like how how you're giving out like multiple values over here in the yield. So I missed that part. So here you can use multiple yields over here. So but if you are able to run the generator, okay. So yeah, you can go for the 10 lakh view I mean the 10 lakh values also. So but you need to write like yields so many times. Okay. So but if at all if I show you the like text generator equal to 3, okay, just as a small example. So it is generating three values. Okay, it is generating three values and each value is stored inside this. Okay, it will create a generator. Okay, now you will have next of people gen. Okay, one value is getting generated. Okay, fine. Are you able to see this, or is it generating the same values, guys?
Yeah, Santosh. It's not taking next value, right?
Yeah. So, but actually, it should take the okay. Next value of the generator should actually take this. Let me see generator of one. Uh, Fine, guys. I'll get back on this. I will check. I'll check and get back like why it is not printing multiple values. But however, the time will be obviously extremely less, guys. Okay. So don't worry. I will get back. I'll check this and get back to you. Okay. But let me show you the times. Okay. So you are having 10 lakh values over here. So even though you are having 10 lakh values, it is getting generated, but why it is not able to generate the different values by using next keyword. So I will try to check and I will let you know. Okay. So, but values will be generated in extremely less amount of time. Okay. So that is one way. And second thing is coming to the other example. For example, let's say you are having a normal uh, collection. Okay. So here you are taking like some 10 lakh values in the form of range and you're doing the square of it. Okay. Now, usually if I do like some 100, okay, if I do 100, that works. Fine. So, but coming to generator, okay, coming to generator, okay. So this is how actually it should work. So whenever you are giving a next keyword, right? So it should actually print each value at a time. So uh, I'm not exactly sure at this one why it's not printing. Fine, I'll check and get back. Okay, but at least try to understand we are having a lot of time difference between these two, right? And coming to here, if you see the memory part, okay, for x in range of 100, okay, if you are able to print this L, so if I print L, so all the values are getting printed at once. Okay, like 100 values, 100 squares are able to you are able to see they are getting printed at once, okay, which will consume a lot of memory. Agree? But if you see coming to generator, okay, even if I give 100 values, okay, so and if I say G, okay, now what is G will be just a generator object. Fine. Only when I say next of G, the first square, that means 0 square you will get. Okay. Again, when I go for next G, you will get 1. Again, when I say next, it is 4. Okay. So obviously you have extremely efficient storage is happening over here, right? Because if I just increase this to this, okay, just imagine if I increase this to this, okay, and if I run now, my system will stuck for sure. Okay, it cannot store with this available capacity, it cannot store. Okay, but if I use the same this over here, okay, see, it has executed, nothing is happening. Okay, I can go for these values. Okay, but I cannot dare to execute this, because if I start executing, right, it will definitely the kernel will get in stuck. Okay, but this is, I think by this example you can understand that even though I'm giving extremely large number, okay, I'm using extremely large number, it is not taking any time at all. Okay, it is not taking any time at all. Okay, so if you see, okay, and okay, so if you see, it is taking 0 0, because obviously when it is taking 0 0, by that itself it will mean that it is not actually processing the values, it is not storing, right? Because to store or to process, to do something, it should take at least few amount of time. Okay, but when it is taking extremely low, almost 0, that means what? It's not executing. It's impossible to execute this much this many numbers in almost no time, right? So indirectly what is happening, so it is not actually calculating the values, or it's not processing, it's not storing anything at all. Okay, it's just understanding the functionality of this, and it is just creating a generator object for us, and it is living. Okay, only when you trigger this generator object using the next keyword, only when you trigger the generator object using next keyword, then only it will start extracting one value from that. Okay, until then it will not store any of the values. So that's why whenever you want to work on like large numbers, okay, so or whenever you don't have so much space on your system, okay, or you whenever you think that no need of storing all the values that are getting generated, fine, so you can go for generators instead of normal collections. Fine. So as you can clearly see here, so we are giving some trillions of numbers. So this I would say you cannot count also, this is some trillions of numbers. Okay, so even though we are giving extremely large number, so we are not falling into any storage issue. Okay, but if I execute this, guys, definitely my system will stuck. If you want, I will not execute in my system, but if you are surprised, you can just execute this in your system and see what happens to your system. Okay, it will take forever to calculate, and we are calculating the squares. Okay, it will take hours of time even if it works fine. But with generator we are working fine. Okay, so and only when you try to go for the next keyword, okay, only when you go to the next keyword it works. Okay, so as you can see, okay, so it is printing. Oh, okay. Okay, so let me erase this. Yeah, as you can see, 01496. Okay, so
Yeah, I have questions.
yeah.
So for but here just I have doubt like
Mhm.
if you need a tenth tenth element to be printed
Uh-huh.
for iteration purpose, we're also here moving from 0 to 10th item, right? So each
Correct.
time we are executing next like that. Or anyway, if we keep it in loop or so, it will iterate one by one till 10th.
Correct.
Here also taking time, right? I mean, time wise, I'm agree. It is not loading complete what range at a time. So whatever it wants for the next, then only it's loading and it giving. But time wise, how it is taking very less for printing for iteration purpose, not for loading, for iteration.
Anywhere it is same, right? For example, let's say, see, for example, yeah, I understood your question. Let's say I'm having 10 lakh records. Okay, I'm having, for example, 1 crore records I'm having in normal collection. Okay, and here in generator also having 1 crore records. Now to print the 10th element, what you need to do in the normal collection, first you need to store all these values. For storing it will take like, let's say, 2 minutes of 1
Yes,
crore. And for
yes,
printing it might take just 10th element. If you just go, let's say if you're putting this in L list, and for 10th element you can do L of 10. Okay, this will
mm,
take less time obviously.
yeah,
Here you do this, 2 minutes will be saving, right? So you can
yes,
just
yes,
do next 10 next times, next time, next, you can just copy paste next 10 times, you'll get the 10th element. Whatever your the time you are taking to print here is exactly the same time you are taking to print the next. Okay, next is almost like print, right? You are just printing next, that means you are just printing some value, you are not loading some value. Okay, so here there are two ways to, just to answer your question. Here you are spending time in two scenarios. One is for saving. Okay, one is again loading or printing. Agree? But here it is only printing. Okay, here also you should also, here also should print, right? It will take some time for printing, few seconds,
yeah,
fraction of seconds. Here also it will take almost same amount of seconds. To print it will take what, it will take a minute amount of time, right? So same thing. But for whatever the time you are having, okay, and I understood your question. So what you are trying to say here is, see, uh, your question might extend. Let's say you are having a normal collection, and let's say I'm having a generator. Okay, I want the thousandth value. Okay, there are 1 crore values over here. Okay, 1 crore values over here, and my aim is to find the thousandth value. Okay, now here there will be two times. One time is for the saving. Okay, one time is the printing. Okay, for printing it will take only 1 second in a normal collection. Okay, but here it may take some seconds. Okay, why you need to print 1,000 values, correct?
correct,
Because you
correct.
cannot directly go to thousand. Only one element it will give at a time, correct?
Yes,
But let's say
yes,
for saving this 1 crore values it will take 5 minutes of time, and printing it might take 1 second of time. Okay, but here just you will have execute next of g, next of g, like that. Okay, so you will have 1,000 next of g's. Okay, and to print all of this 1,000 next of g's it will not take more than a minute also, just printing, right? So it will just complete in like few seconds, let's say 30 seconds or maximum one. Okay, as you can see, time is, overall time is what, 5 plus 1 seconds. Here overall time is 30 seconds.
yeah, yeah,
Do you agree? Because
yes, sir.
it is just printing the next values, it is not store, it is not wasting any time to load or save is somewhere, right?
Okay,
Overall time is less. One thing. Second thing also, so but where is the storage happening over here? Storage is also main thing, right? So here if you want to store large amount of data, 1 crore of variables. If you want to store, it will take some GB of data unnecessarily you are
Mm.
storing, even though you are using only one value at a time. Okay, every time you will use only one value, right? In a loop
Yeah.
you cannot use three or four values. Okay, unless you want to go for some zip or something, that type of concept, you will use those. But normally you will use only one value at a time, right? So when that is the scenario, so why to store like 1 crore values at a time? So it will take some GB of amount of data. Here there is no storage happening at all, correct? Only when you are hitting it, it is triggering. That's it. Okay, but this also has its disadvantages. This also has its disadvantages, also advantages, right? But usually, see, only when you are concerned about like storage and
Yeah, yeah, got it.
time, okay, or you don't want all the values to be collected at once, etc., you will go for generator. Okay, but normally we will go for normal collection. Okay, this is just a concept. I'm not saying you will, yeah, this is going to completely replace the loops. No, we are going to use the loops itself, right?
Yeah,
Fine, but
got it.
this is one concept where in a specific scenario, like when you are handling like extremely large number of numbers or some storage issues, you can go for the generators. Okay, but technically, obviously, if you compare the same task, it is taking less time, less energy, sorry, less memory, etc.
Yeah, Santosh, got it.
Yeah, Meghna, is this clear for you?
Yes, sir. Clear.
You understood, right? The concept generator.
Yes, sir. Understood.
Okay, fine, guys. So this is one concept I would say we have over here. So one will be the decorator. Okay, one will be the decorator. Okay, these are just advanced concepts, right? I cannot guarantee you are going to use, you will be using this every time in your project, but knowing this will be helpful. Okay, one is decorator. Okay, one is iterator. Iterator is just the iter what we have used, right? So that will be the iterator, you looping through iterations. And one will be the generator. Okay, generator by using the keyword yield and by using the next keyword. Okay, and yeah, so these are the basic concepts. And after that, right, so we have few concepts, something called as assertions. Okay, we have something called as assertion, and we have a module called as date time. Okay, okay, few small concepts are there. Okay, so I don't want to miss those concepts. So but before that, there is actually one important concept in module. So I'm not sure, you can help me to remember, uh, to remind me whether we have covered this. Did we cover something related to if name main? Uh, Meghna, did we cover when you're covering modules? Uh, did I tell you what does name equal to main?
No.
No, sir.
Oh, okay, fine. So yeah, yesterday when I was going back, going through the video, so I observed that. Okay, so let's cover this concept. Okay, this is actually very important concept. Okay, see, in Python, in almost every Python script, okay, you will find this something name, okay, equal to main. You'll see something at the bottom of the script. You will see at the bottom of the script, you will see. Okay, you take any GitHub, almost all professional GitHub. Okay, GitHub scripts .py files. Okay, if you're having .py files, okay, you will see this one. Okay, underscore underscore name equal to main. Okay, whatever I have written, right? So you will see that. Okay, so what's the importance of that? Okay, we will try to see. Okay, so just to show you guys, I'll just try to show you some uh, Python. Okay, let's see if you're lucky to find one. Okay, just so uh Git is also important, guys, because whatever you are writing, obviously you cannot put it in your system. Okay, so obviously you should do the version controlling and always push the code to Git so that you can track it, you can store it, you can access it. Okay, so if you want, I think Karthik might already be aware of Git. Okay, but Meghana, I don't think you will be knowing it. Okay, but if you're interested, right, so I can take one class sometime. Fine, so that I can teach you the basics of Git. Okay, so that it will be very helpful to you. Okay, if you are interested.
Yes, sir.
Oh, fine. So let me see if these guys are using the writing. Oh, I don't know what this guy wrote. The system's only shaking. Okay, fine. I'll show you some examples over here. Okay, but you will commonly find it. Fine. So here, what happens over here is the first. Let's try to understand the importance of the main. Okay, so usually, see, actually, we are writing all these .py files, right? So actual scenario lo em jarugutadante, we will trigger only one file, guys. We'll trigger only one file. Okay, even though, see, I'll tell you one example. So initially, for the first time when I got job, right, in data science, so I was very curious, okay, to see the code how they actually write. Okay, so then my senior has given me a small folder. Okay, he told, hey, this is our folder, our project folder. It was instance project, and he said, this is the whole code. If you are able to understand and go through this, you will have a good understanding. Okay, then I open, just say it was just like you know uh, you will have something called as main.py. Okay, you have main.py, so which will be the main dot function. Okay, dantlo there are only like hardly 5 to 6 lines. Okay, I thought whole project is only 5 to 6 lines of code. There are like multiple functions. I thought understanding that would be the helpful. Okay, but I was wrong, because as I said, in actual uh, project, so you will be using the modular programming. That means what? So each line over here is calling some other function. Okay, you are passing the values from here to some other function that will be triggered from some other file. Okay, some other folder. Okay, from there the control will come over here. It will go here. It will go here. It will keep oscillating between lot of .py files. Okay, by use of functions, it will pass the values, and it will complete the flow from multiple .py files. Okay, you will have multiple .py files. Okay, but you don't need to trigger all those. Okay, mem trigger చేయలేదు. Okay, even if you have 1 2 3 4, let's say you are having 10 .py files. Okay, where there is, let's say, first is data ingestion. Okay, data ingestion, data processing. Okay, data pre-processing, feature engineering, EDA. Okay, just data training. Okay, data testing. Okay, finally accuracy. Let's say ఇలా మనకి 10 .py files ఉన్నాయి అనుకో, మనం each and file trigger చేయం కదా. What we will do, you will have a one file called as main.py. Okay, initially you will have main.py. Okay, once you trigger this main.py, okay, once you trigger this main.py, you will pass some values so that it will trigger the first function. Okay, and this function, you will import this inside this. Okay, and whenever it is triggering at one particular line, second will also get triggered. Okay, so like that, each .py file will import. Okay, for example, let's say in feature engineering, and EDA might be combined into one thing, and it is using in the main function. Okay, let's say training, testing, accuracy are being imported into EDA. Okay, all these are getting imported into this EDA. Okay, so like that, it will be like subsets. Okay, so one will be present in another .py file, and you will be calling, you will be importing one .py file from another .py files, and wherever it is required, the flow will be continuing in that scenario. Okay, when we are working on the actual project, so I will show you clearly, like what I mean practically. Okay, but here just try to understand, all these .py files are interrelated to each other. Okay, you will not trigger all this. You will just, what we'll do, whenever you get a new data, let's say you are getting a new data. Okay, here in .py file, it will be a small file with only one single line of code or two lines of code, where where, let's say, you are having data. You will give new data, whatever new data you are getting from client or from your customers this week. You'll just upload that, and you'll just pass this value. It will take and it will trigger the first data ingestion part. From there, it will trigger, if it is required data processing, it will trigger data processing, might import EDA might be inside this data processing. Okay, that means in data processing, you will see something import EDA. Okay, import EDA, obviously it will use some functions from this EDA. Okay, and EDA might use some functions from accuracy. Okay, so that's how the flow continues. Okay, so it will continue between all the files and finally it will give you the accuracy or whatever the model is trying to give. But the point I'm trying to make over here is, okay, you need to pass each and see each and every .py file is getting imported into some other file. Okay, that means they're not the actual file. Okay, but the actual file will be the main.py. Main.py is the actual file to which you need to pass the actual input, raw input we call, so that this is the starting of the pipeline. If this is the pipeline, starting of the pipeline, once this is triggered, the whole flow triggers. Okay, this whole flow triggers automatically. Okay, but to trigger that, you need to give this, you need to find this main.py and give whatever the input you want to. If you don't want to give input, you can just trigger it whatever you want. Okay, but to find out, okay, but let's say, as I was saying, let's say you are having two things. You are having EDA, okay, and just as an example, you are having pre-processing. Now let's say pre-processing is getting imported in main py. Okay, that means what, inside this main py, what we will do, we will write something called as import pre-processing. Okay, we'll write import pre-processing. Okay, this is one thing. After that, let's say inside this pre-processing, if this is a pre-processing file, inside this what we'll write, let's say we are importing EDA, I'll write import EDA. Okay, import EDA. Okay, so now pre-processing is not the actual file, because why? Because it is getting imported somewhere. Okay, that means it is getting imported into main.py and it is getting triggered from main.py. Okay, try to understand this, guys. We are not triggering pre-processing directly. It is getting imported somewhere and it is getting triggered from some other file. Similarly, EDA is also getting triggered from some other file, pre-processing. Like that, every file will get triggered from some other file, because that's how chain process works. Okay, but main.py is not getting imported anywhere. Okay, it is just getting triggered alone. Okay, now to find out if at all a file, okay, if at all whatever we are triggering, okay, that is actual file, actual module or actual .py file, or it is getting imported from some other import. Okay, we will be using this if name equal to main. Okay, now let's try to understand. See, if you see here, it will tell if name equal to main. Okay, if name equal to main, okay, this is a function, by default function. This underscore main is will be true by default if at all the .py file whichever you are trying to access is the standalone file. That means it is not getting imported from any other file. Okay, you will see an example so that you will get an understanding, guys. See, now for example, if you see, okay, for example, if you see, I am printing this check main, there is a function. Okay, check main, there is a function, and inside that what I'm having, if name equal to main. Okay, I'm checking if I am in the main.py file. Okay, this will execute, this will be true only if I am in the main.py file. That means I'm not getting imported from any other place. This check main, obviously, whatever the module you are present, that meet AI Python modules 1. Okay, so that is I'm not importing from anywhere. Agree? Whatever the function you are trying to execute, this is present in this one. I'm not importing this, I'm directly using, I'm in the actual function. Okay, so that's why when I trigger this check main, when I trigger this, it is entering here, and the first thing it is trying to execute is if name equal to main. Okay, it is entering here and it is printing actual. Okay, the moment when the reason why it's printing actual is it is executing this, and why it is entering this, because it is understanding this is the main thing. How it is a main thing? Because you are not importing this from anywhere, you are actually writing it in the first place. You are the guy who are writing this. Okay, but for example, okay, but for example, let's say you are having a module. Okay, you are having a module. Okay, so I have created this meeting ai.py. Okay, so in this place I have a meeting ai.py. Okay, and here I have a function inside this meeting ai.py. I have a function called as define test. Okay, I am printing this is just testing, and inside that again I have the same function. I have the same function if name equal to main actual inside. Okay, so here also you have the same function. Where was that? Where was that? Yeah, so here also I'm using the same function. Okay, so print actual inside. Okay, for example, I will show you the same function, exactly same function, so that you will understand. See, this is a function, test function. This is just testing. If name equal to main actual else inside. Okay, if I run this function here in the notebook, I'm running, I'm triggering this test function from the notebook. Okay, now if I run this, it is printing, this is just testing, and it is printing actual. That means what? This is main function only. This is entering, this means this is a main function. Okay, but now, if I try to, okay, see, if I try to execute the same test function, okay, from this import meeting AI is there, right? You're having this meeting AI. This is another .py file. I am trying to access it by importing it. Okay, if I want to use this function, okay, this is okay. I will write this is meeting AI testing. Okay, I will write this. Okay, now if I want to use that function, test function, which is present in this .py file, obviously I need to import this, right? So in modules, while we are discussing modules, I remember that we have discussed you can create custom modules also, and the way how you can use the functions inside the custom module is just module.function, and you can access that function inside that, and you can pass some values, you can add or subtract. Did you guys remember this concept, how you can access functions inside a module?
Yes, sir. Remember.
Okay, perfect. So here also I'm doing the same thing. So this is a module meeting AI.py. Okay, new function I'm using. I want to use this. I cannot directly use this. Okay, if you are, for example, if you are just confused, but if I run test, it will trigger because you already have a function over here. For example, I'll write some test 100. Okay, there is some test 100 function over here. Okay, now if I just try to trigger test 100, and what, how many parameters are accepting? 2 parameters. Okay, I'm not using any parameters over here, but still I'm just passing. Okay, so I'm passing 1 and 2. See, it is saying test 100 is not defined. Why? Because it is not present in this notebook. It is not aware of that. It is present in meeting AI.py. Obviously you should access it from there. I cannot directly access it. What I need to do, I need to import it. How I can import the module? Okay, meeting AI.py. Meeting AI is the module, so I need to import meeting AI, and inside that I have the function. What is the function? I have test 100. Okay, I have test 100. Okay, so see the problem with the imports, right? So sometimes you will face these problems, guys. So I'll just, this is a loophole actually. See, actually I have, initially I have a test function, right? I have ran that. Okay, now if I try, but as of now, okay, as of now, okay, this is just an error. So many times I also face, I'm just letting you know. Now actually now what is present in this function? Test 100 is present, test is not present, test 100 is present. Okay, but still if I try to execute test, it will give this, because the interpreter will actually try to remember the functions, okay, inside that module. Okay, so that will be sometime issue. Okay, just to make sure, right? So for example, I am changing this to, okay, let's say my function is data AI. Okay, for example, my function is data AI, and sorry, my module is data AI, and inside this data AI I have test 100. Okay, now if I come here and if I change this to data AI, okay, and if I now do module dot function, now data AI is having test 100, it is not having test. Now if I try to access test, it will give you error. Okay, so actually it should give the error when I using meeting AI also, but because I already use the test function inside meeting AI, even though I change the function, sometimes the kernel or the interpreter remembers that. Okay, it will be confusing. First time when you're doing it, it will be pretty much confusing, because there is no function with the name of test, but still it will execute, because if it has already ran that module, it will remember that. So, okay, just to avoid the confusion, you can sometimes, if you face this problem, right, you can just change the name and try. Okay, just change the name and you can give. Okay, but coming back, now what I'm trying to explain here is, when I'm executing this function in the actual notebook, I'm able to say this is just testing and it is printing actual. But when I'm executing the some function test 100, okay, let's say test 100, okay, and when I'm executing the same function, if I run this, it is saying this is meeting AI testing, it is printing this line, but it is saying inside. Okay, it is printing me inside. This is important, guys. It is not giving me actual, because why? The function whatever you are trying to give, you are trying to access, that is not standalone function, that because you are getting imported it from some module. Okay, so this function is not present here. That means in this notebook it is not present. You are importing it from somewhere. Okay, but the test function whatever using over here, okay, this is actual function, that's why it is printing actual. Okay, so this is how you can recognize or detect a notebook or .py file or a function, whether it is a actual main function which you are present, or it is some imported function. So that's how you can find out this. And once you find, okay, once you find you are in the main function, then you can trigger that function, so that it will trigger how you are importing data AI like this, right? So you can have like data pre-processing, data training, etc., etc. You will have tens of .py files, and all of those get triggered internally one by one, one by one, one by one. Okay, but your job is not to trigger all those. Your job is to trigger the main function and to detect the main function. This is how it will work, and this will be true. This will be true only when you are in the main function. This is a by default syntax. Main if name equal to main, and that will be true only when you are present in the actual where there are no imports, where you are actually starting the main.py file. Okay, are you getting, guys? Are you getting? Please let me know.
Yeah, Santosh.
Okay, because this is I'll just try to quickly show you if at all we have something. Great. Okay. Yeah, I think this will have some example of name equal to main. Yeah, so this is how you will find at the bottom of the script, guys. Okay, in any function. Fine. So only this is true, it will enter here. Okay, and you are printing what you're using the function over here. See, if you see here, I'm saying if name equal to main, I'm giving the function, the grid, what is the function you are giving? Okay, you are giving over here. Only when this will get executed, only if this is the actual function. If you are not importing uh, anything, okay. But in some other case, let's say some other .py, you are importing this whole function as manage.py. Okay, you are importing this whole manage.py over here. Okay, so in this scenario this if main equal to false, this will be false. Okay, in this scenario this will be true. Okay, because we are not importing anything, this is actual function, so that's why it will trigger this grid and will print whatever you are having. Okay, but here in other.py, if you want to use this, you will import over here. Okay, you will import over here and you can run this. Okay, but here it will be false. Whatever you are having the if name equal to, that will be false. Okay, so that is a basic concept of if main, guys. So you will understand more when you are actually working with the projects. Okay, but I hope the concept is clear, guys. Like what is the meaning of if main, and when it will be true and when it will be false. Okay, when in which places we can trigger.
Yes,
Yes, sir.
Santosh.
Clear.
Okay, okay, perfect, fine. I'll try to show a few more examples. Okay, so I would say that's all for today. So there are like few concepts pending, guys. So we'll try to wrap it up. If it is possible tomorrow, it's fine. Or else, if I feel there are some more concepts which I don't want you guys to miss, I'll try to take Saturday also. So, but by tomorrow or mostly on Saturday, we can conclude this Python, and we are going to start stats, guys. Okay, as I said, be prepared for stats. Okay, start making notes from the day one. Okay, I'll give you like complete index what are topics we are going to cover, and we'll see good examples. Okay, so fine, let's try to wrap Python by this week. Okay, so that's all for today, guys. Thanks for joining. Let's meet tomorrow.